morning and welcome to Good News and Entertainment. I'm Carley Boyette. Tonight we start with a new film that just opened in theaters January 16th. Learning You is turning Hollywood storytelling into real-world impact. Inspired by the everyday heroes raising children with special needs, Learning You tells the heartfelt story of a father learning to truly see his son and himself for the first time. What makes this film even more special is its mission. The filmmakers are donating 100% of their proceeds to ACT, a nonprofit ministry they founded to support parents of children with autism and other special needs. Before we talk with one of the filmmakers, let's go ahead and take a closer look at Learning You.
Here to pick up Elijah Smith for our day visit.
You can have a seat while they're grabbing him.
I really don't love the idea of him being stuck in an institution just because he's born different.
He just wants this!
Feels like a battle-worn soldier.
2-hour visitations with your son who's numb from medication because no one knows how or wants to handle a poor kid whose nervous system is on fire half the time.
It's for the best time. You know we cannot handle this.
Feels like waving our white flag.
Sinclair Project.
Sorry, yeah,
I'm sure you have something to share with a team after 3 months.
So what's the plan, smart guy?
if you could have anything in the world, what would it be?
Beach water good. We're doing this!
Wherever you are, you better turn around.
And if your mother doesn't like it, she can sit on a tack.
Ty, this is a work trip. I'm collecting inspiration as we go.
Ty is one of the best.
He's the best. But every day that goes by that I don't even get a whiff of a design.
He's working on it.
Not good for my business.
You're gonna be doing this every single morning.
Stop it!
This guy won't return my calls. He won't return my texts. I'm gonna fire him.
You're dead here if you don't deliver.
Yeah, God, you're fired.
Elijah, stop it.
I'm not scared of your feelings.
Why does there have to be so many storms?
Little boy, I'm not scared of your mind.
I think sometimes the bigger the heart, the bigger the story.
I am here and I will stay. Just give it some time.
Let's not talk about business. I'm gonna build a sandcastle with my son.
Though you walk alone, I'm not far behind.
Oh, Tyler, it's so good to see you again.
Yes, thanks for having me.
So we chatted the last time for your film, I Can, that came out, and we were chatting just before we got started. I love hearing from filmmakers that when you have a film that does really well, it just tends to propel other projects. That's what we want. That's how God can continue to use entertainment and movies. So tell us a little bit, again, we had chatted, for I Can, and it did well. And we want more stuff like this.
So I Can came out in theaters back in 2023. It did well, especially for an independent film, did very well in theaters. And then inexplicably had a run on Amazon where we were in the top 10 of the faith category for like almost a full year, which is bizarre and awesome. And opened up a lot of doors for us. One really cool story is that a member that was in the Boston Marathon bombing when he was running the marathon when the bomb happened, lost both of his legs. He watched I Can online and was so inspired that he actually helped get us to the Super Bowl last year, where we represented the I Can Foundation, which is a nonprofit we started from the company. So we're going back again this year to represent that. It was crazy. God opened that door and I didn't see it coming.
Oh, I just love that. All right, so let's dive into Learning You. One of the biggest theme that jumped out to me is not only is it about this dad learning how to adjust to life with his son who has autism, but it's also learning how to do life together. It's almost like when the two families meet in this film, it's almost this huge breath of fresh air where you go, oh my gosh, like we're meant to do this together. Like the dad's not meant to be alone and fighting this fight. So talk a little bit about that. And this is based on a true story and true families, but it's not necessarily their entire tale is either,
Yeah, when you watch the film, you'll recognize there's a giant talking polar bear. So that part was not not true. No, it was written basically as a love letter from a dad to his son Elijah, who they have a hard time communicating because Elijah is profoundly autistic. And while the story is fictional, so the road trip did not happen, the real life family, it is based on a family from our town. And it was really cool. The actual real life Elijah and his dad got to be extras in the film and be on set. And it was really, really neat. But yeah, when we were doing interviews with families with kids with autism, we interviewed maybe 100 families in preparation for the film. We just found out that they are so isolated, that most of them feel unseen, the voiceless. They feel like they don't really have much hope. I had a parent tell me that they pray every day that their kid will die before them. And it was one of the most just like gut wrenching interviews I've ever done. And it let me know the importance of telling stories like this, so that they can know they're not alone. You talked about how when the two families kind of finally collide in the film and they realize there's other people going through this. I think that's important in real life for people to understand that as well, that while it might feel isolating, there's a lot of people going through that same struggle. And if they could simply be connected, they could carry that burden together.
Which is incredible to me that you have this film that is now, I mean, 100% of the proceeds are going to be talk about this organization that I think is going to be that lifeline for a lot of families.
Yeah, I'm super pumped about this. When we were talking about making the film, we always do something that's geared towards a film with a purpose. So like making it with a cause. And it was a Holy Spirit moment for sure, because we were sitting in a room and it was like all of us had this light bulb thing where we were like, act. And nobody really knew what that meant yet. But it was one of those moments where you couldn't have written that script. But ACT stands for awareness, connection, and touch. And it seriously came from like one meeting with our team. And after that, the ball just got rolling. But ACT is an initiative we started in the Louisville, Kentucky area. And we guinea pigged this for a year in our town before we were launching this nationwide. But it's designed to connect parents and caregivers of people with special needs. We started an online community. We have in-person events. We actually did a comedy night with Michael Jr., the comedian, and it brought him in about 1,200 families. It was insane. He did a meet and greet with them, and they got to go have this amazing night where we provided respite care for their kids, and they got to have a comedy night. It was amazing. But the whole thing is trying to replicate that with other churches and organizations across the country. So after the movie comes out in theaters, we're doing like a semi-tour kind of event with the film all across America in about like 16 cities, where we're doing red carpet premieres, but where the kids and parents that are special needs, they get to be the stars of the evening. So similar to like a night to shine. And my goal is with these events that it would kickstart chapters of ACT in these different areas. So our proceeds, like 100% of the filmmaker's profit of this movie, is going to that initiative and trying to fund this whole nationwide thing where we connect families that really need connected.
Yes, that's amazing. Talk about, putting the cast together and the story together and the actors. It's amazing. The more I learned about this is of how many people are touched with somebody, who has autism in their family. I mean, this is a really personal journey for a lot of people who worked on this film.
Yeah, it started, at the precipice of it. So we got the script sent to us. And if you've, in the film world, if you've made anything that has had even like the sliver of success, you constantly get sent scripts because everyone thinks that every story they've ever experienced should be a movie. And sometimes it should, but most of the time it's a pretty good story. But this one was sent to Mark on our team, and Mark does a lot of our script reading and kind of filters those out. So usually he'll read like 10 pages, and by 10 pages, if this is going to be good or not. But Mark has a 38-year-old daughter named Julianne that's profoundly autistic that lives with them, that will live with them for her entire life. And he read it in one setting and called me and said, "You need to read this." And Mark's the type of guy that, like, if he says to do anything, I trust him so much that I'll do whatever he says. So I read it, immediately fell in love with it. It was so creative, so raw. And we met with the real life dad about a week later, and it hit the ground running from there. So right at the very beginning, it was already connections to the special needs community. And when we were casting, I had worked with John Wells several times. John is a very successful independent actor, does a lot of sci-fi and action films. So if people watch like Sci-Fi Network and things like that, they'll recognize him. And he's never really done a ton of dramatic stuff, but he's a very good actor. And
yes, he is.
Amazing. He's just never had the opportunity to like express those chops. But he has a son named Tristan that's 10 years old that's also profoundly autistic. And as soon as I read the script, I was like, John has to play this role. So I called him. He read the script, called me back in tears, and said, I have to play this role. Like I'll be upset if I don't get this role, kind of thing. And then beyond that, we ended up casting Al Snow, who is he was a huge WWE wrestler back in the day. Netflix did a documentary about him called Wrestlers a few years ago, and he has 3 grandkids that are on the spectrum. And so when I thought of who could play a giant polar bear, which has got this larger than life personality, but when I found out that he had that connection, that was a natural fit. But just the level of respect that the cast and crew had for the autism community and their desire to tell
research, from what I understand.
Yes, tons.
Didn't the young boy that played, didn't he do a lot of research on his own?
So that was the hardest role for us to cast. When you've seen the film, the boy Elijah has to play both autistic and not autistic, which is like incredibly challenging. There's scenes in the film where the dad is dreaming that his son is not autistic, which is a very real emotion. So we had to find somebody to play that. And we found Caleb Milby. He knocked it out of the park, but he did 6 months of volunteer work with Autism Oklahoma just to prepare for this role. And I feel like he did a really nice job.
He did a phenomenal job. And I really want to make sure people know, I want to go on record saying this is an independent film. And sometimes there's stigmas that are with that, but the acting and everything is so superb. It's so well done. Real quickly, too, before we run out of time, tell me about the song that plays in the trailer and in the end. Like, that song is so good. Was it written for the movie? What? Tell me more about that.
It's one of the favorite parts of this whole entire thing. Our operations pastor at church, he's the executive pastor, Matt. He and his wife. He used to be our worship pastor. They wrote this song about their son who struggles with severe OCD. And it was really just a cathartic exercise. It had nothing to do with the movie, but he showed it to me and I was like, man, we have to be able to use this. And so for them to like redeem all of these struggles that they've had with their young son now, and it's in this trailer that has like literally millions of views on the internet, has been such a cool experience to watch that.
It's so cool to hear how God, I mean, it's really, the theme seems to be unity. Like everything is just kind of come together and everyone's on the same page. And this is just beginning. I can't wait to see what God does in the months ahead.
Thanks for having me.
I think sometimes the bigger the heart, the bigger the story.
I am here and I will stay. Just give it some time.
Let's not talk about business. I'm going to build a sandcastle with my son.
Though you walk alone, I'm not far behind.
For more information on the film and its mission, go to learningyoumovie.com. Now, along the same vein tonight, as many families, myself included, are starting new habits, schedules, and routines this time of year, I want to remind you about a great podcast I discovered that's a perfect addition for parents to include in their family's routines every day. Carpooling with Jesus is a Christian family podcast that is perfect for families looking for a kid-friendly devotional or an easy way to add faith to your mornings. Episodes are generally never longer than 5 minutes and offer real-life biblical advice for school-age children. I had a chance to talk with the youth pastor who created Carpooling with Jesus. Let's hear more of his story.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Carpooling with Jesus, the podcast that turns your car rides into moments filled with faith, fun, and awesome wisdom from Jesus. I'm Justin, a dad of 4, a husband, and a pastor. I'll be riding along with you every morning as we kick off our day together.
Oh man, Pastor Justin, you've been a part of my family's routine here the last couple of weeks going to school. So it's such an honor to get some time with you. And I want to start first by telling you thank you. I first found you, I was searching for something like this, really couldn't find a whole lot. And we listened day one and haven't stopped since. I mean, I think I'm going on like 3 or 4 weeks every day. It's such a blessing. So thank you.
Oh, that's so humbling to hear. I love hearing stories like that from parents, and thank you so much.
And I'm so thankful for you youth pastors. Us parents, as you know, you're a dad as well. It is a tough job. And we talked a lot about this age group that you're trying to, also just plug in with God's word too. And it's not the easiest thing to do. So I'm so happy that there's other people out there that have a passion for reaching youth as well. So before we start here, tell people a little bit about your background, because it seems like you see what a need there is and you have a passion for youth.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in New York and did college in Missouri, a great Bible college in Moberly, Missouri, small town, and got my youth ministry degree. Moved to California, started doing youth ministry. So now it's not theoretical, you're actually doing it. And I got to do it at a pretty great church called Mariners Church for about 10 years. And it was one of those things where I got to see students every single week, and I got to hear their stories. But then, you see their parents and you hear their side of the story, what they're struggling with, how figuring out how to get their kid to kind of hook onto faith outside of the church building or outside of, life group or Bible study or camp. And it's one of those things that if there was a silver bullet for this, I think we would have found it already. It's not about finding the silver bullet. It's about finding opportunities. So I think all the time, parents, me as a youth pastor would have wasted looking for that one thing that's just going to figure it all out. We waste our time because we miss the little opportunities along the way. And I think that's kind of the spirit behind the podcast. I want to find an easy way for parents, and I'm looking at myself as a parent when I look at my own 4 kids, an easy way to have regular conversations about spiritual things in the car ride to school, or as some families sit around the breakfast table because they're doing homeschool or they're on a long road trip, just kind of pouring through episodes, and then having every single one end with just a question to provoke conversation. And I'm sure you do the same thing. You answer the question too, probably. Like from a parent's perspective, when I was a kid, and your kids hearing your own stories ends up being like the lubricant that gets spiritual things in their mind working differently, because now they see mom and dad in a different light. You talk about, well, hey, what are you struggling with right now that might change the way you approach things at school today? And when a parent says, man, when I was a kid, I was struggling with A, B, and C, and D, like your kid probably had no idea about that until you brought it up. And again, there's so many ways to catalyze that, but the podcast being one of them has just been a blessing.
And I always, I want to encourage other parents. I'm going to go ahead and claim it over my family too, even though we can't see ahead. Even if, let's say you listen one morning and you don't have this earth-shattering conversation or whatever, it's about planting the seeds.
Yeah.
And planting seeds, you need to be happening every day. And that's what I'm so thankful for. Church is great on a Sunday, but man, if we can start teaching our kids how to look to Jesus and how we actually live out very real situations, whether it's the workplace or in the school that, the classroom that day. I mean, these are things that just constantly, we need to be fed every day.
When I was a youth pastor, in the back of my mind, I thought, man, I'm really important. Okay, so I didn't understand the real relationship between kids and parents and the church. And I thought, man, I'm the youth pastor. I'm really important. The reality is, I've been out of youth ministry for a while, and I still text some, students who, by the way, are in their 20s now. Some of them are getting married. The parents are still actively involved in their daily life, not the youth pastor, the parents. So, when I look at it, it's like, I know what it feels like coming out of church and looking at your kid and saying, hey, what'd you learn today? Nothing, something about Jesus. And then you kind of feel like, okay, well, where's the conversation go from here? That's what makes the podcast for me enjoyable, because we just listen to it together and now we can talk about it together. but it puts the control of spiritual kind of motion in my hands as a parent. And one of the things that I love about the podcast is it's not specific to any one church or one publishing company or a sponsor. Like, there's no sponsors on the podcast. It's not connected to Mariners Church or some other church. So it's able to be a resource to churches. We have some churches in Indiana, Texas, that they share this out with their parents, because it isn't, you're not listening to some other church's podcast or some other, Lifeway or, Crossroads Publishing. And that's one of the things that I think makes the podcast really great. It is a turn on to churches to be a resource to parents so that they can have those daily spiritual conversations with their kids. And I love it.
Yeah. And the other part of what I was going to say too is that, planting seeds, that's what we just need to be doing, right? Like, even if they're not completely getting everything every single day, it's okay. We're trusting God that as long as we're being obedient and faithful and having these conversations, at least trying to every day, that God, will honor that later.
They may not remember any of the specific questions or podcasts or conversations. I'm okay with that. They're going to remember the overall theme, that I can have spiritual conversations with mom and dad. That me, mom and dad can be in the car or at home, and we can talk about things that matter. I can go to mom and dad and share things and share answers to questions. They're approachable to me. That's like a theme that will serve you the rest of your life. And it becomes that thing where, and I have said it a ton as a youth pastor, that we overshoot what we think is possible in the short term, and we undershoot what God can do in our families in the long term. So planting little seeds like this, it's not about the question or the topic of the podcast. It's about setting the precedent in our family. We talk about spiritual things in our family, and we do it often, and we do it together. And we can do that the rest of our lives. I mean, I imagine being this old guy with my grandkids around, with my older children, and they're still coming to me and we're still having spiritual conversations. And that hopefully it's because those seeds were planted, just like you're talking about, when they're young. And then it just fostered and grown over time.
What's your encouragement for families? And again, you're walking through it yourself, and culture's always changing. So I understand that, but man, it's tough right now. It's not an easy battle. I told somebody the other day, I'm like, I feel like I'm having to put the body armor of Christ on even more, like I've never done before. It feels like we're at spiritual war, and I'm going to battle for my kids.
Yeah, I think that here's the hardest truth. There's going to come a last time for everything in your life as a parent. There's going to come a last time. There's going to be a last time that they ask you to go play catch with them. There's going to be a last time that they ask you to sit down and play video games with them, a video game you've never played before, that you're terrible at, that they beat you at. There's going to be a last time for that. There's going to be a last time that they come to you and ask to sing a song with you. Okay, that's a hard truth. I want to take advantage of every time I'm asked, as many times. I want to be a dad that says yes as many times as possible. Dad, can you play this game with me? Dad, can we go outside and go to the park? Listen, and I have work. Like, I'm an online pastor at Mariners Church, so I have work. I have a family. I have a house to take care of. Like, I have a wife and 4 kids. So, there's things on the plate. But in 30 years from now, like, a lot of those things that are on the plate right now are not going to look as important in the rearview mirror as the relationship I have with my kids. Like, I feel fine putting things off or staying up a little later and getting that work done on my computer after everyone's in bed, so that I can put it away right now and say yes to the ask in front of me. Because again, there's going to come a day where those asks dry up. And it might be when they move off to college. It might be, who knows when it's going to be, but there is a last time that you're asked to do things. And I want to enjoy every moment that I can while I'm being asked to do stuff with my kids.
Yeah, I love that. Well, tell people how they can follow along. And I listen on YouTube, but you're on several different platforms. Yeah. And I mean, really, it's very easy to find out what you're doing. And I'm loving the series right now. You're doing Proverbs, but I know there's big plans of really to keep this thing going every day, which you said is part of the reason probably why there's not a whole lot of others like you, because you're putting out a lot of content.
Carpooling with Jesus, it's super easy to find Spotify, Apple Podcasts, really anywhere you find podcasts. And there's not a lot of carpooling titled podcasts on it. So if you type in carpooling with Jesus, it'll come up pretty quick. And it is, it's one of those things. I started it for my kids. Like, I remember driving to school with them, and my wife has a routine like a lot of great moms do. And there just wasn't anything that she was finding. And she is the one that challenged me to start the podcast. And I've been loving it. And we do Monday through Friday, and we're about to add in weekends. We're doing what you just said, the Proverbs for your school life. So there's like daily wisdom that they can apply to their school day today. And we're just going to keep doing Monday through Friday, and then adding in weekends through the rest of September, October, and into the future. And we just want to make it easy for parents to have spiritual conversations with their kids. Simple as that. So anywhere you find podcasts, you can search Carpooling with Jesus and you can find it.
Well, I can't tell you enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tell your wife thank you for encouraging you to do that as well. And I pray that more families hear about this and take advantage. And we're going to claim that it's going to make a big impact all over the country and really the world. Who knows where this can go
as well. Speaking of podcasts, Dr. Tony Evans is back with a new podcast. That's right. After taking some time off to deal with a personal issue that led to him stepping down from his church, he is now ready to re-enter the ministry world again. The new podcast is called The Unbound Podcast, and it releases January 20th. His goal is to have honest conversations about faith and culture. Take a look.
Hip-hop became a cultural phenomenon, and we'll call it sanctified.
It's a time to show people that our look is different. Just think about young David going up to King Saul and saying, hey, this armor doesn't quite fit me.
No, you didn't go there. No, you didn't go there. Let's talk about the idolatry of ministry.
Well, I mean, I'm doing like the outward, like making sure I provide and I'm protecting you. And
you weren't doing too good at that because she said you were broke.
Yeah, well, there was like, oh dude, we didn't have a lot.
Some of the wrong thinking about God has crept into the evangelical world.
God uses most those who suffer the most.
We get to have conversations with friends, much like we're doing now, about the Bible.
Did you just call me a friend?
I did.
I feel so
I
much
saw that
better.
point.
I caught that.
You can never meet the needs of people that you've never met.
Say that one more time, just one more time.
I can't serve you if I don't know you.
The tension today, how do you see that working itself out currently?
You like asking really easy questions. Yeah, that's a softball.
Did you ever feel, Nikki, that he loved God inappropriately more than you?
It's a loaded question.
No, she's fine.
We're just getting started.
Yeah.
Next week on Good News on Entertainment, I'm going to chat with Dr. Tony Evans himself about this new podcast and what we can expect. I hope you join us. Well, I hope you also enjoyed tonight's show. I'm Carley Boyette, and if you have any questions about what you saw tonight or anything you've seen on CTN recently, just go to ctnonline.com. Thanks again for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you next week right here on your Christian Television Network.